When was the last time you had a conversation and you were left feeling like something is missing or something was missing? And maybe you really didn't know why, but you knew something was off. So we're going to talk about today the art of speaking and where you're speaking from. Are you speaking from your mind? Are you speaking from your spirit? And so there are three mistakes that break connection when you're talking in a conversation, whether you're teaching, whether you're on the phone, or whether you're having just a one-on-one social conversation. We're going to talk about that. The first one is speaking from judgment versus from empathy. And a lot of times when we're speaking from judgment, and some of these is going to be really, really insidious. I know I personally do more speaking from empathy than I do judgment. But when I was looking at some of the examples of speaking from judgment, I'm like, oh my goodness, I do this sometimes and I don't like it. And I don't like it when others do it to me. So let me give you an example. So if you're speaking and you feel like, yeah, you're really right about something, okay, or you have to have the last word, or you need to correct others, that's some judgment in that. And I can remember being a teenager, and my mother used to say, I couldn't see it then. She would always say, you always have to have the last word. And she was right. I mean, she even told me one time, she said, you need to be an attorney. You always have to have the last word. So speaking from judgment looks like this. You always do this. Think about that. That's judging. Or this is very common. You just don't get it. And I can still say this today. Or you don't get me. That's a form of judgment. Or it's quite obvious that you're wrong, or it's quite obvious you made a mistake. Those are all forms of judgment. They don't create a bridge between you and the other person. Empathy creates a bridge between you and the other person. I mean, what empathy does says that you're recognizing and validating that person's experience and their opinion. It doesn't mean you have to agree. That's another mistake I made years and years ago. I thought I had to agree, and I was not going to agree to something that I didn't believe in or that wasn't true for me. But I had no empathy to go with it. I thought that it was one or the other. So speaking from empathy sounds like this, like, I really get you. And I mean, it's also heartfelt. Or, I can see that this is really important to you. I can see that this really matters. And again, lastly, you can also say something like, tell me more, because I really want to understand this. And I don't think I'm getting it. Just tell me more. I want to understand. See, you can feel that from the heart. So I would like to leave you with this last reflection on point number one, which is your communication coming from a place of connection or trying to control something? So reflect on that, and that's going to shift the results that you get. The second thing is thing that I see is correcting with urgency instead of just being present and being there in the moment. And I think that we're all busy people, okay? It doesn't mean it doesn't matter if you're a stay-at-home mom or you're the top level executive running a company or you're an entrepreneur or a business owner. It doesn't matter. We're all busy. So, and I think as leaders and parents and business owners, as teachers, we typically feel pressure, a lot of pressure to solve the problem or what's going on in the moment. But a lot of times we come from a place of urgency versus really being grounded. So this is how this would show up. We interrupt This is when we're coming from a place of urgency. We rush the conversation, or we start offering solutions versus listening. On the other hand, if you're just present, that actually creates a space. And I've seen this over and over and over, and it works. It works with someone 8 years old, 6 years old, or 70 years old. I mean, it works with everyone. Presence, on the other hand, creates the space, allows the other person to speak. They also release what's bothering them. They truly feel heard. And a lot of times, many times, they figure out their own right answers, if you will, or solutions to the problem, or they change their mood level and they're happier and they go about their day because they feel heard. So a real connection has occurred. And there's also a lot of respect that comes from that, a lot of closeness. So inspect, are you really listening? Are you really creating that presence in that space for the person to engage and have a conversation with you? Are you trying to reshape them? Because that typically doesn't work. Now, the last thing is delivering your communication with intention. I know a lot of times, and I've done this so many times, we use catchy phrases or tips we want to share. But that real heartfelt communication that inspires and touches the other person's spirit and lets them know that you're there and that your communication builds bridges versus disconnection. I mean, that's what really, really inspires, and that's what makes a phenomenal connection between you and the other person, and that communication is very validating. So intention is what gives your message power. Okay, without it, your words are just noise. So reflect on this, think about it. What is behind your words? What are behind your words lately? Maybe there's certain people in your life that, you find several of these. The urgency maybe, or the lack of empathy, or trying to be right, where it appears more with that person than it does with others. So just inspect it. Try to get a little bit better. Increase your empathy and see what happens. Make note of it. Be present with it and validate your wins. Okay, so take a look, see where you're speaking from, and that's how you improve the art of speaking, not from the mind, but to the spirit. I'll see you next week.